Handoff, Adrian up the middle, room to the 20, cuts to the left to the 25, and Adrian's loose! He splits the defense! 50, 40, 30, goodbye, baby! Touchdown!
We bleed purple, and our bones are gold. Hear the horns coming out of our dome, behold. We are Minnesota Vikings fans. We love when a player scores, we roar, ignite the stands.
Hey everyone, you are listening to the Purple People podcast. My name is Kyle West. I am accompanied by Adam Carlson.
Hello.
And Kyle Smith.
Hey.
What's up, gentlemen? How are you guys this evening?
Having a good time, watching a lot of Peppa Pig lately. If you've never seen Peppa Pig, that's a show that you definitely want to avoid at all costs.
I have no idea what you just said.
Kids love Peppa Pig. There's no way around it.
Yep, can't say that I know what that is, but I'll do some homework.
So anyway, this is episode number 126 of the Purple People podcast, not the Peppa Pig podcast. If you're looking for that, that's somewhere else.
That comes tomorrow.
But this one's titled Hide and Seek. Hyde, after the cornerback for the Green Bay Packers.
Okay, I had to think about that one. But
Micah Hyde,
it.
you're familiar with him.
Uh-huh.
He's one of your former Iowa boys, isn't he?
You betcha.
There you go.
I have a feeling, spoiler alert, Vikings could be drafting an Iowa left tackle this season.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
But we'll save that talk for later.
What are you talking about?
So we've got a lot of quick hits this week, though.
We do?
That's fun. Yeah. Lots happened.
Well, hit me up, Mr. Carlson.
Well, Minnesota had Pierre Warren snatched from their practice squad, so they had to go and sign back running back Dominique Williams.
Okay.
And then the Vikings released tight end Marquise Gray. He was a big fan favorite around here for being a local boy. And then they brought in running back Ben Tate, which I like Ben Tate. I think that'll pay off.
I do too. Marquise Gray got picked up by the Buffalo Bills at like the worst possible time. They're in the middle of snowpocalypse over there in Buffalo, but sounds like he made the journey safe, and I wish him the best of luck with the Bills.
It was revealed that Phil Lodeholt has torn his pectoral muscle, and he has been placed on season-ending injured reserve.
Ouch.
On that note, the Vikings will sign, or have signed, according to his Twitter account, offensive tackle Jamarcus Webb. I like having Jamarcus Webb back.
I had not heard that. That must have happened sometime today.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Another thing that Vikings fans are kind of up in arms about is, I know this is kind of a spoiler from later in the show, but the Green Bay Packers beat the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday.
What?
I hated to throw that spoiler out there, but
What? No.
that's what happened.
I reject your reality and substitute my own. The Vikings won 47-3.
And after the game, Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers was seen drinking Grape Crush. And a lot of fans took that as a subtle jab at the Vikings.
Maybe. I did hear some Packer fans say that he has some kind of crush soda after every game.
He does.
That's kind of his ritual. Like, Marshawn Lynch does the whole Skittles thing.
Hopefully it's just a coincidence.
I don't know. It's so easy to hate Aaron Rodgers that I'm going to say that it was a jab towards the Vikings, but maybe not. Who knows?
Hey, back when I used to drink soda pop, Grape Crush, I was happy with that.
I'm a fan of the Grape Crush, and I will say if it was a jab towards the Vikings, it's actually pretty funny, and I gotta
pretty good, pretty well done.
I like that one. That was a pretty funny.
Only Aaron Rodgers could take the purple drink and make it uncool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Purple Crush, because, I guess.
It didn't really crush us, though. But
no.
Anyway, let's move on.
But speaking of food and beverages, if you haven't had a chance to go over to thevikingage.com, you have to check out this video of... there's this thing called Psy Pancakes. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. What he does is he makes pancakes, but he puts designs on every one of them. And how he does it is the most amazing part, because it's not like he makes the pancake and then draws the design on it.
Mm-hmm.
He colors it and styles it based on the time it takes to cook each part. So if you ever have a chance, go over and watch him make the Minnesota Vikings pancakes. He makes the Norseman's head right in the middle of the pancake, and he did a fantastic job. I could go for a stack of those on Sunday morning. That would be nice.
I have a hard time cooking normal pancakes, let alone making shit with designs in them.
I know, I can't even make them round.
Yeah.
They end up all lopsided and crooked. It's just bad.
It makes me think of that movie Yes Man. We watched that a lot at my apartment. Oh my gosh. Hope it doesn't taste like Mickey Rourke. Ugh.
That's a pretty funny one. I do like that flick. But this is where you, Mr. Kyle West, wanted to take control of the topic because you wanted to talk about Mr. Matt Kalil.
That's right. We're going to talk about Matt Kalil, which will probably segue into our donkey segment fairly easily for this week. But Matt Kalil, not so good a performance, and then afterward, as the players were leaving the game, got into a little spout with a fan. The fan said some words to him. Matt Kalil didn't take it very well, went up to him, said a couple things back, ended up flipping. The guy was wearing it was sort of not really a ball cap, one of those.
It was a chuck.
Yeah, one of those ones with the fuzzy pieces that go down over the ear. Ended up reaching up and flipping it off the dude's head. And then the guy turned around and threw a program back at him as he was walking away. Cops ended up interjecting. They took the fan. They didn't arrest him. They took him, just sort of escorted him away from
his vehicle.
Yep, they escorted him away from the area. Very kind of unprofessional thing for Kalil to do, to actually turn around and do that.
Not a very classy move by the person either. So.
Well, it's not, but there's a reason why these guys make a lot of money. It's like, just put the big headphones on and ignore it. After the fact, a day later, he did come out and apologize for it, not directly to the fan, but he did apologize for his actions. He said that, he lost his cool, he didn't have a good day, and he should have reacted better in the situation.
Since then, offensive tackle Matt Kalil has canceled his Twitter account and no longer has had a lot of interaction with fans. So, honestly, it's probably for the best.
Yeah, you gotta be... These guys are professionals, supposed to be professionals, for a reason. And, I don't ever condone you as a fan, even when they play bad. Hey, there's still guys on our team. You gotta go out, you gotta support them. But you are gonna get your people who are gonna say shit, and players just gotta ignore it. Like, it comes with the territory.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You can't let them get under your skin.
Nope.
But Matt Kalil kind of opened himself up to a lot of that with his poor play. And then, really, I was surprised that he took it so personally when the fan yelled, "Get better."
Yeah, they yelled, "Get better." It started...
No, it was play better.
Play better. Someone yelled, "Play better." It started out when he yelled, where do you want to be traded next season?
Oh, yeah.
And then he said, after Kalil turned around, he turned around, he was on his phone, he turned around the first time and kind of went towards him and said, "What do you say?" And then the kid responded with, "I wish your brother was playing on this team." And I guess it was the sort of bringing his brother into it is what did it, and that's where he turned back around and reached over and flipped the kid's hat off his head.
I think Mr. Kyle Smith had a pretty emotional reaction to this. How did you feel about that whole interaction?
It's just like the AP thing for me. It could go on either side, but fans, I want to challenge you with something. If you can step in and do a better job than Matt Kalil, then you have the right to open your mouth. If you don't say anything. If you want to be frustrated, fine, but we're having kind of a subpar year, even though I think we've progressed leaps and bounds from last year. But these players need your help. They don't need you to kick them while they're down. We hate losing to Green Bay of all the teams, and Matt's playing pretty poor. So for everybody to be on his case, I absolutely agree. You have to let it go in one ear and out the other. But at the same time, like, pride yourself to be better than that, because, I don't know. I couldn't come up to Matt Kalil and say you suck if I'm not going to be able to step in there and protect better than him, which I know I can't. But either way, bottom line, I'll go back and forth on this all day. He should have never turned around and even attempted to put hands on or grab near a fan. That's just unprofessional on 8,000 levels. It doesn't help that he's playing poorly too. So he's kind of got the microscope on him. I hope he can play better, first of all. Maybe that'll make us forget about what happened.
It's kind of weird that he blew past the media in the locker room when they were asking for a statement or two, but then he was willing to take a little bit of time out for a fan that was heckling him. To me, that kind of is strange.
It's a strange situation, but I don't know. You don't want to make too big of a deal out of it, but it does say, I think, a little bit as to where his head is at this season, and he knows that he's struggling. Like, this is his frustrations kind of boiling over in a way that they shouldn't. And
yeah, there's no way he doesn't know that fans aren't liking him right now and that he is struggling on the field. He's probably well aware of the situation.
But I really agree with Kyle Smith. Like, we are Vikings fans, we gotta support our players. Like, I want Matt Kalil to get it turned around. I don't want the team to have to draft another left tackle. Like, I want Kalil to be that guy. And, like, fans that are out there, you get close to him, like, support him. Like, support our guys that are on our team, even if you don't necessarily like them or like what they're doing. Like, you still should show them respect because they represent the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, it's like we say at the end of every podcast. We say, "Stay classy, Minnesota," and that's something that kind of gets brushed off each and every time we have a podcast. But I truly mean it. I mean, this is a franchise that should be more proud than it is and should hold themselves to a little bit higher standard.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the challenge, is try to be a little more optimistic, try to be a little nicer, because Minnesota nice is a real thing, but we should try to extend it to everybody, including people held in high regard, like athletes and superstars and musicians and all that stuff. So yeah, let's show a little bit more of that Minnesota nice.
So how about some game balls and some donkeys?
Oh, I like that.
That sound good?
I have several of each, so if you guys want to give yours away, I can eliminate who you guys give your balls to, and then I can give my ball away.
Well, I'll just segue right into it. My donkey for the week, and I almost hate to do it after the conversation we just had, but based on play on the field and then unfortunately what happened after it, I'm giving it to Matt Kalil. I mean, he had some penalties that negated a good run from Jerick McKinnon. He just wasn't very solid in his protection. And then what happened after the field, I mean that unfortunately is the definition of a donkey for me, so I gotta give it to Matt Kalil. I want him to turn it around, I really do, but you know how that goes.
Totally understandable. I'm in the same boat as you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got, Mr. Smith, for your donkey?
We'll go the same route, not because partially because I didn't get to watch most of the game, but just the penalties. Penalties kill, just like turnovers do. But when you draw 3 on yourself, you just, like I said earlier about a microscope. That's the thing that stuck out to me for the portion of the game that I did get to watch. And you could see the expression on Matt's face for the little part that I did get to see. He was just frustrated. And I understand playing sports, growing up, it's hard not to show your frustration when you're out there and you constantly keep messing up, but you got to find a way to turn that into something positive. But just drawing 3 penalties alone by yourself is not good. We got to keep Teddy upright. That's the main thing. I hate to be selfish, but you got to protect Teddy better. That blind side's going to kill because he's a small quarterback. So
here's a quick quiz for you.
Go ahead.
How do you know when you're an offensive lineman doing your job?
When no one talks about you.
When you never hear your name.
Yeah. That is 100% the truth. Like, you don't talk about line play if it's good. Good line play, you only talk about line play when it's bad.
When someone's getting blown past, someone gets a holding penalty. Those are the only times you'll really hear that.
defensive
go ahead.
linemen, I was just going to say defensive linemen have the benefit of the doubt because when a defensive lineman plays good, you're getting pressure to the opposing team's quarterback. You're getting sacks, you're batting balls down. Offensive linemen get absolutely no love when they're playing well.
None.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And this is only for one team, the only team this whole entire year that I've heard good things about is Dallas because Tony Romo's playing really, really well.
Well, he's getting 9-second pockets.
Yeah, I mean that's the only time, and they don't single anyone out. They just the Dallas O-line, so you're not even getting individual love. So that's pretty funny, man. That's a good analogy.
All right, so my donkey, I had 2 names down because I didn't bother writing down Matt Kalil or Charlie Johnson, which both I figured would be named by now. And honestly, I'm sick of picking on poor Charlie. I am. It gets to a point where I feel I've kicked him enough.
I actually did see a couple decent blocks from Charlie this week. Yeah.
Well, I guess he can get a couple in a game.
I'm dead serious. He actually did have a couple that I noticed was down towards the end zone. I'm like, that was a good block from Charlie Johnson. Anyway, continue, Adam.
I'm going to pull a Kyle Smith on this one, and I'm going to split it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
It goes to Chad Greenway and Anthony Barr.
Ooh, some love for Chad Greenway. I like that.
Well, the opposite of love.
Oh, you're doing the donkey. I'm already thinking game ball. Shit. You gotta hate on Chad.
Chad, you were out of position the whole freaking game. There were times when you were supposed to be covering players that were out in the corner and you didn't do it. There were times you're supposed to be in run support, and it took you way longer to get to the player than it should have. I understand that this defense is more aggressive, and it's harder to stay in position, especially when you bite on ball fakes and things like that when the Packers are running the ball well. But Greenway, you're an established veteran. You got to hold that down. On the other side of the ball, you got other side of the coin. Sorry, I won't say ball because that makes it sound like he's playing offense. But Anthony Barr, you're a rookie. You're super athletic. You started the season so well. Did you hit a rookie wall or something?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was basically ineffective the entire game. I don't know what happened with Barr, but I want to see him return to the way he was earlier in the year when I thought that he was a legitimate candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year, and now he's kind of fading off into obscurity a little bit, and I just need to see him get back up to that level.
I feel a bounce back game against the Panthers from Anthony Barr. I'm calling it.
I hope so. I hope you're right. I also have 3 game balls to give away, so hopefully you guys will narrow that down.
Well, I'm going to give mine to Blair Walsh. I've hitting the 51-yard field goal is always tough to make, and he does miss every now and then, but Blair is an extremely clutch player for the team. We're lucky to have him, and replacing Ryan Longwell was no easy task, and I really feel like Blair Walsh has replaced Ryan Longwell on this team.
Yeah.
I am really happy with his consistent play. So
Walsh will be the Vikings kicker for a long, long time, I feel.
Yep. So Blair Walsh gets my game ball. Probably need to buy a jersey of his. Really do.
Wouldn't blame you.
I could probably pass as Blair Walsh. We're about the same size.
Mr. Smith, what do you got?
As much as I want to split like I usually do, I'm gonna keep it to a minimum. I wanted to split it between. I'm just gonna give a huge shout out. All right, let me go on a little rant here. I'm looking at the Packers' last 2 games before us. A 55-14, just absolute domination of the Bears, and then the Eagles. They're winning the NFC East right now, I believe, or they're at least tied with Dallas. They beat them by, I'm looking at 33 points. We lost to Green Bay by 3 points this weekend, and I'll tell you why. If you guys didn't watch the game, we were so close because our defense did what nobody thought to do this year. We dared them to run, which they did well, but we played really good coverage on what I consider one of the best wide receiver tandems in the game. Not the best. Obviously, there's better duos out there, but I'm watching Xavier Rhodes playing aggressive against Jordy Nelson, breaking up passes, and he's looking like the guy that we wanted him to be to draft. Harrison Smith was everywhere. That's obviously I'm leading into those 2. I couldn't pick, but I'm going to give it to Xavier Rhodes. I really wanted to give it to him when he got his interception. I was really happy for him. But
Oh, yeah.
I just watch him and see what Mike Zimmer's done with him. You know, teaching him just getting the fundamentals down, the little things that he was having trouble with, but he wasn't really, I would say, struggling. He was just trying to find the right step, or trying to find the right position to be in, and to play against Aaron Rodgers' favorite target, and just he was all over him this week. It was great. Jordy Nelson had no touchdowns, and I was super impressed. If I could have been impressed with any loss that we've had out of the 7 this year, which I hate to say we have 7, it's this game, how well we played. Because I'm not going to lie to you, coming up Sunday, it's the Patriots and the Packers. You may very well see a Super Bowl preview between the teams, and if we can come within a field goal of beating them, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. My game ball is going to be kind of weird. Mine is going to Jeff Locke. Did you know that Jeff Locke is the Vikings franchise leader in net punt yard average?
That's crazy.
He punted 4 times. 3 of them landed inside the 20. Locke had an amazing game, and when he has games like this, you never hear people on Twitter apologizing for the times they were ripping on him for shanking one once in a while. Jeff Locke, you're a good man, Charlie Brown.
Awesome.
This is one of those times where I wish we were doing a video podcast. Just so you could have seen the look on my face when you said Jeff Locke. Oh. I am not a Jeff Locke fan, but yeah, you know what? He did have a decent enough game.
Currently the best punter in Vikings franchise history.
I refuse to believe that. That has to be a made-up stat.
It is not. It was tweeted out by Vikings PR earlier yesterday.
They have to be making stuff up. Whatever, man.
Congratulations, Jeff Locke.
Here's a fun stat, too. When I opened up my Vikings app, or maybe it wasn't the Vikings app, it might have been ESPN or something, they'll give you the leaders of the day. Just to tell you how good our defense played, to piggyback on what I said, we all know Rodgers can throw 6 touchdowns in a game, 400 or 500 yards if he wants to. Teddy Bridgewater beat him out by a yard, 210 yards to 209. When I saw the passing leaders and Teddy was the passing leader for the day, had to do a double take and make sure they didn't mess it up. I thought that was awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
It is, but Bridgewater made some early mental mistakes. A lot of the times he was trying to force things. He was a little too overexcited. He said that he was nervous to play against Green Bay for the first time. He was overthrowing a lot of his wide receivers, and he even threw one very un-Teddy Bridgewater-like interception off his back foot, which is I've watched a lot of his play from his college days. That is something that I did not see much of when I was watching him.
That pass looked like it floated in the air for about 5 minutes. Legitimately before it landed. And like you just watching it, you're like, this is going to have a bad outcome.
And I want to praise Teddy Bridgewater's number 1 target. I want to be happy for Charles Johnson. But even though Charles Johnson caught a touchdown and caught the 2-point conversion, Charles Johnson had a bad game. He actually dropped more balls than he caught. It's a situation where some of the balls were uncatchable. Some of them were dropped, and he only ended up catching 3 of his 11 targets.
Mm-hmm.
If they can start converting on some of those plays, the Vikings can be just a real dominant force. When other players in the passing game have been ineffective, Jarius Wright had 1 target that he dropped. Jarius Wright, he's supposed to be one of the most solid guys on the team. I like Greg Jennings stepping up in the veteran role at wide receiver. Caught a touchdown against his former team just like Charles Johnson did, which is kind of cool. It's the 2 former Packers that caught touchdowns. Kind of a neat little thing. But Kyle Rudolph's return was a big one. He played most of the snaps at tight end for the Vikings, but he only found himself targeted 5 times, 3 catches, 50 yards. This was a nice game to ease him back into action. This is the kind of game that I was hoping to see from him last week.
Mm-hmm.
But perhaps they're brought him along a little slower than I expected. Still, a great game to keep moving along in his developing ascension back to good health.
Yeah, he's getting his legs underneath him, getting the rapport built up with Teddy. I really do believe that if he can stay healthy, he will be a top tight end in the league. He has all the skill, all the potential to do that. Now let's just pray that he stays healthy.
That's been the knock on him for a while now, though. That's what's sad. Jerick McKinnon struggled. 15 carries for 54 yards, averaging 3.6 yards per carry. He did have a couple nice runs taken back by holding penalties or hands to the face. But still, rookie quarterback Teddy Bridgewater needs a little help from the run game in order to open up things in the pass game. Everybody seems to be playing real close to the Vikings, close to the line, because they know that offensive line doesn't give time for plays to develop.
Yeah.
And they know that right now the offensive line can't block enough to spring big runs. So really, it all comes down to that offensive line where you've got two players that are almost ineffective with Matt Kalil and Charlie Johnson. And now you've got two backups on the right side with, I believe it's going to be Mike Harris and Joe Berger.
But how about Joe Banyard stepping in? It wasn't a brilliant performance, but it was a performance where you go, hey, Joe Banyard.
Hey, remember Joe Banyard?
Yeah, he's on this team. He had a couple, he only had 3 receptions for 19 yards, but there were a couple times where ball was not in a good place, and he really had to outstretch and bring it in, and he was able to do it. He had 5 for 28 yards on the ground. Like I said, not brilliant, but still, it was enough to where you went, hey, Joe Banyard, let's give him another look next week. I like that.
He had a great reception, too, where he was about 2 or 3 yards short of the first down on third, and he carried those defenders for those yards and got it.
I love that. Fun fact of the week, I'm going to be a nerd. Found him on Instagram. I love these guys. Some of them actually run their own stuff. Yeah, shout out to Joe Banyard for saying, what's up. Well, I love getting involved on social media when the players are, cool little thing on there. But I love the stat for him. 5 carries, what'd you say, 28 yards?
26.
5.2 yards per carry average.
Yeah, 5.2. Not bad. Awesome. Another fun dorky fact is that my phone autocorrects Joe Banyard to Joe Barnyard.
Maybe because he could be a workhorse back for the Minnesota Vikings.
After this season, there's going to be a decision that has to be made on Matt Asiata. And I think that bringing in Ben Tate and the emergence of Joe Banyard is going to make that a tough decision for the Vikings.
I would be fine assuming they don't. Let's not even play that game of assuming. Let's just look at these 3 guys and go.
Yeah, don't even bring that name up.
Yeah, I would be fine with them rolling with McKinnon, Banyard, and I can't even. You just said it. Ben Tate. Even though we know nothing about Ben Tate right now, I would still be fine with maybe them bringing him in. Maybe
I loved watching Tate in Houston. He can play, man.
Maybe you look at it.
When Arian Foster was injured, and just a couple of my friends are Texan fans, he's not a bad back at all. And that's the 2 questions I have. Number one, this is a side note. Vikings PR and media guys, why do you ask him 24 hours after he got to the facility all these questions? He doesn't even know. I don't think he had his number yet. And you guys are asking him well, what's your favorite play so far? He's like, I just got here.
Yeah.
But I want to know why Cleveland got rid of him. I didn't really hear anything about that. I don't think it was a personal issue or a disciplinary thing.
He was upset with the coaching staff that he wasn't getting touches.
They have a really good back in Terrence West.
They got a good combo of backs there. Isaiah Crowell too.
Yeah,
that must have slipped through the cracks for me. I didn't hear that he was upset about it, and made me think about the LeGarrette Blount stuff. But obviously, he didn't leave the field early, which that's awesome. But
he was under the impression when he got brought in there that he was going to be either a feature back or one of the stronger backs in a rotation. And since they have those young running backs that have stepped up, Tate saw his carries just keep getting decreased and decreased. Well, Tate himself, he was struggling, but he wanted to try to get back on track, and he didn't feel he was getting that opportunity, I believe.
This could be one of those dark horse waiver claims. I'm really excited. I hope there's enough season left for him to see a little bit of action.
I love players that want to play, and Ben Tate wants to play.
Yeah, me too.
I don't like players that play when they wanna. Oh, that's fun.
We'll leave names out of that.
But we talked a little bit earlier about the Vikings defense, and to be honest, there's no reason not to be impressed with what these guys are doing. There's still a really big question mark at the linebacker position. Chad Greenway's struggling. Jasper Brinkley was out on a lot of the plays because they were playing nickel and had that extra defensive back in there. It's going to be strange to see how the Vikings try to improve on this defense, whether they try to improve it with a stronger pass rush, because to be honest, Everson Griffin, he's done a decent job so far this year. He's met and exceeded several people's expectations. But I don't know, to me,
I like Everson. I'm a big fan of him. I think maybe you look at, and God, I'm a huge Chad Greenway fan. It kills me to say this, but I think you look at Chad as a guy who he's getting up there in age. Maybe you look to rotate him out with a younger guy through maybe the draft or through free agency. Jasper Brinkley is just kind of
there.
He's just kind of the definition of a guy.
Yeah,
right
he's
now.
a Jake.
Yeah,
just another guy.
Just another guy out there on defense. So he's an area that I think you look to improve upon.
That's not to say that Jasper Brinkley can't make plays, because there are times that he has been able to get in there and make things happen. But the problem is that a lot of times he's not effective in the role that they're trying to play. It's not that he's a bad player, it's just that the fit for the team isn't quite right.
I could never do, this is a bit of a side tangent, I could never do Rick Spielman's job because I don't even know Jasper Brinkley other than just seeing him on Twitter, interacting with him a little bit in training camp, and I like the guy. I would have a legitimately hard time cutting Jasper Brinkley.
Yeah, he seems like a fantastic guy.
He's a really great guy from everything I've seen from him, but you know how it goes. Being a good guy don't get wins on the field necessarily.
And let's talk a little bit about Josh Robinson stepping back up again, because when he isn't put against a wide receiver that is much taller than him, he has been playing some lights out football.
He is.
Yep. 8 solo tackles, 10 total. It's great.
Just absolutely crazy.
Like Mike Zimmer said, you can't make these guys taller. But if he could, that would be fantastic, because Josh Robinson is a really good player. Or at least he's been playing good this season.
That's something that a lot of Vikings fans probably didn't think they would hear after last season, this failed slot experiment. Which, when you think about it, the slot experiment kind of makes sense to match him up with usually a slot receiver is smaller, so yeah, it does make sense on the surface. But otherwise, the secondary did a good job. Pass rush failed to get to Aaron Rodgers other than one Brian Robinson sack. But they did create some pressure sometimes, forced Aaron Rodgers to get out and run.
I thought Harrison Smith was, again, probably the best defensive player overall for the Vikings on the field.
Definitely the case could be made for that.
Harrison is continually putting in game after game his stamp on this team. I am a huge Harrison Smith fan.
There's like a 5 or 6 way tie right now, but it's for third for interceptions now that he has 4. So he can creep up. If he had 2 picks in a game, I know that'd be insane. He'd be at the top of the list right now. So,
do you remember, Adam? Did he drop one?
Oh yeah,
on Sunday he almost had one, right?
Yep. He almost had one, and he did get the other. No, he didn't get the other.
Nope.
Sorry.
Nope.
I'm thinking of the pass defense that bounced off him. Yeah.
Yeah.
His hand just got there, and it bounced out.
If he could catch them all, he'd be playing wide receiver.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, that's just the story of it.
So, overall, the Vikings had what could be considered a moral victory in their 24-21 loss to the Packers. I know a lot of people say there's no such thing as a moral victory, but when you look at this game, even compared to the previous game against the Packers, you saw a world of difference. And this is just this season. Imagine what this team can do with a little more experience, a little more clicking, maybe a little more talent through free agency or the draft. And things are really looking up for this team. There's a reason to be optimistic after watching this game. I was really down after the Bears game, as listeners of the podcast could probably tell. But this game really helped bring that back to me, because I saw flashes of what could have been. I saw the brilliant second half from Teddy. If he could play the whole game like that, it'd be amazing. But that's something that should come with time, I hope.
Which leads me to segue your website, the Viking Age. For you fans out there that are already calling for Teddy, just stop. Just shh. Go have a jelly donut. Just yeah, I don't know what to say about that. The kid started 8 games, and he wasn't supposed to start this year.
Yeah, he was supposed to sit back and learn.
Yeah,
Christian Ponder is your only other option, the viable option that knows the playbook. So that pretty much solves itself. Let him learn. It's going to be a pain in the butt. He's going to make stupid throws like he did with the interception this weekend. But he's also, if you've noticed, when he started, the game against Atlanta, lights out, had a rushing touchdown, no passing touchdowns. Finally gets a passing touchdown, which ironically was to Cordero Patterson, who's quiet as all get out this year. But I saw a big gap there with 2 bad games, and the picks started lining up. It's like, uh-oh, I hope that's not it. He's slowly building back up. He has 6 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. He's going to balance that out. If you can come through your rookie year and just even out with the same number of touchdowns and picks, I mean, that I'm not going to say it's impressive, but it's definitely enlightening.
When you look at his stats sheet, you see something really interesting. Like his first couple games, no touchdowns. Then he started scoring 1 touchdown a game. Now, last week he scored 2 touchdowns. It's been consistently growing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I think Teddy Bridgewater is really doing, is that he's growing in this offense. And this offense, it's different than the one that he had at Louisville, of course. In Louisville, he had a little more time to sit back and pick things apart. And he had time to let things develop. He had an offensive line that could block a little better, and he had a running back that could do a little work. He was thrust into a situation where he was supposed to learn this season, and then he thought that he was going to have quite possibly the best running back in the NFL in his backfield. He thought that he was going to have just above average to excellent offensive line that had all the starters return. He had the dynamic Cordero Patterson out there, and all of that has failed him. He even had Kyle Rudolph have to be out for an extended period of time. Teddy Bridgewater is facing a lot of challenges that most rookie quarterbacks will never have to face.
Mm-hmm.
The best part is he's still maintaining, and I know a lot of people are sick of that game managing, whatever, but for him to step in with all the stuff that you've talked about and still be able to manage a game and still learn and get better, I mean, what more could you ask for?
Well, forget manage. Teddy Bridgewater has 3 fourth-quarter comebacks in his 8 games. 2 of them were from game-winning drives. This kid could be something really special. Don't just blow past him and ignore the good things and try to focus on the bad. Teddy Bridgewater is a guy that I think is the real deal. I said it before, and I'll keep saying it. Be patient.
I don't know what people want him to do when they say that all these small dink and dunk game managing passes. People want him, you want him to go out there and play lights out, every pass is a 80-yard bomb down the side of the field. Who's he gonna
have an Eli Manning when you do that? He's gonna throw picks all day.
Who's he gonna throw it to?
To be fair, that's what Blake Bortles is doing. He's just chucking the ball down the field.
Oh my gosh, I'm glad you said that. Like, I hate to rip on Blake Bortles because I think he has an upside. I wouldn't say a lot of talent, but you guys, if you get down and out, think about it. There were 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. I know Derek Carr is playing pretty good for Oakland, but they have 1 win. Let's be happy with 4. Blake Bortles is a pick-throwing machine, and Johnny Manziel's not even starting.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely won out of the top quarterbacks that came out. Just be patient. There's an underlying theme every week when we say, be patient.
Exactly. We knew that this season was going to be a learning season.
Mm-hmm.
New head coach, new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator, new schemes. Just new everything. And I know we keep ending these shows the same way. But we mean it. we're optimistic about this team. We're Vikings fans. We want to see this team win, and I finally believe that this team is on the right track to doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of fans might disagree with that, but hey, we're all entitled to our opinions, and that's what makes us all fun and interesting. All right, so do you guys have anything else that you wanted to add this week?
I just have one last really quick thought on Teddy, and I'll keep it short, and then we can wrap it up. Is that I really feel like if you sit down and you watch him, you can see his progression. And one example that I will point to is earlier in the season, there was the fourth down situation, fourth and short, where he could have scrambled for it, but he didn't.
He threw it away.
He threw it away. You go back to this week's game. The game we just had against Green Bay. I don't know why I said this week. But there were situations where it wasn't fourth down. It might have been like second down or third down or whatever. But the seas parted in front of Teddy. And you've seen him recognize that and go for it and utilize his legs. And like that is an example of progression from Teddy Bridgewater. And I am like you can see it with him where you didn't see it with Ponder.
Well, Minnesota picked up 20 first downs in this game. That's more than we've seen in a lot of games in the past. 11 of those first downs were picked up through the air. So Teddy's doing something right.
And there's no better test to see where you're at than, unfortunately, having to play a team like Green Bay. They're solid right underneath. I think it's Arizona. I looked at the playoff picture. They're the second highest seed in the NFC.
Oh yeah, they're a quality team. They seem to always be a quality team, sadly.
And look at that the thing that I pointed out earlier in the show. They've been blowing out teams who competed. So I mean, it's not a win. Obviously, it's not the greatest, but we're not getting blown out. We're competing with good teams. So we should have fun coming up Sunday. We're gonna have a good game against the Panthers. I'm looking for a bounce back game. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's gonna be. I'm hoping we can produce another game like we did with Atlanta. Cam Newton is hurt. This is not the same team that was just a nasty defense last year. So I'm hoping we can take advantage.
That's not to sell Carolina short, though. They got some crazy weapons. That rookie wide receiver, Kelvin Benjamin, is a freak.
Yes, he is.
And maybe we can switch them Kalils after the game.
It'll be nice to see the brothers meet up. Hopefully they can exchange some tips on blocking and new techniques and everything like that.
Bodies.
But that game should be a lot of fun. I'm actually really looking forward to it because the Panthers they have 3 wins this year so far,
and
they're still competing for the division title.
Fun fact about the NFC South: they're all underneath 3 games from being 500.
I think the division leader right now is 4-7.
Mm-hmm. And I think Tampa Bay is at the bottom of that division. They're still 2 games away or 3 games away from winning the division right now, but they're only 1 game away from being the number 1 overall pick. That's your fun fact for the day.
That's sick.
Football is crazy this year.
Look at the NFC North when you got Green Bay and Detroit, just powerhouses too. It's crazy to see. This is one of those situations. Like, remember when I believe it was Seattle that got in the playoffs at 7-9.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, this year might be a lot worse.
I'm glad you said that because that's going to be my ending note. I'm going to leave a comment with you guys. It's just a football question. It's not particularly a Vikings question, but I want to get all the fans on the page that are listening to this episode. I'm going to put it on the Facebook page. I want to see what your thoughts are about changing the playoff system just a tiny bit, and that'll be my outro for the night.
Should be a lot of fun. Should have some interesting comments and ideas on that. On that note, I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Check us out on the Facebook page. Go to Twitter @PurplePeoplePod. Check me out on the Viking Age. And stay classy, Minnesota. I mean it.